Hey guys, it's Marley. Welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be attempting to read the new Riley Sager book in 24 hours. It is called The Middle of the Night and it's his brand new thriller that just came out recently. I'm going to be filming a reading vlog and I am going to include spoilers just so you know. So be sure to only watch this video if you want to be spoiled or if you have read the book. Riley Sager is like one of my favorite thriller authors. I'm very excited to dive into this. I normally read his books in a day or two, so I have saved today. It is a Sunday. I just plan on reading the entire day and vlogging it and sharing my thoughts with you as we go. I know that this book is about a character whose best friend went missing when they were kids. I think they were camping or something in the woods, and now it's like 30 years later and this man is coming back to his hometown, and it just seems like there are some signs that his best friend might still be around. It sounds like there might be a little bit of paranormal vibes, which Riley always does. It's always a question of like, is this paranormal or not? So yeah, let's dive into this today and see if it's another 5-star thriller from Riley. Super random. Look at this hand casting that we made last night of our hands entwined. Cute. Okay, I reached 50 pages into the book. The fan's running, so hopefully that's not too loud and you can still hear me. Basically, we're just getting all this set up to the disappearance of Billy. So our main character is Ethan, and basically he was camping in his backyard with his friend Billy when they were 10 years old. And when he woke up in the morning, there was like a slash in the tent, like cut by a knife. Billy was missing. And so we're getting all the backstory of how that happened and who were suspects back in the day and just how it became a cold case. They never figured out where Billy went. And now it is in present day, 30 years later, Ethan has returned to his parents' house, his hometown, because his parents are selling the house and they have moved to Florida. So he's just living there right now since he like recently had a divorce and stuff. He's gonna sell the house for them. He has been haunted by dreams basically. He's really been like traumatized by that situation, and also some creepy things are starting to happen. My first kind of theory is that it's going to be aliens. I don't know why. If it's like the green on the cover out is giving like alien. The fact that the kid just like disappeared into like nowhere basically, and the fact that I think it's going to be a little bit paranormal, I just immediately thought of aliens, but I don't know. We are getting to know some people in the neighborhood now. Basically this street has like 6 different houses, 6 different families, and so we're kind of learning a little bit more about the families in the flashback chapters, because we're going back and forth between the day of Billy's disappearance and then present day. In the flashback chapters we're also learning about some like kind of drama or something going on between, oh my god, my hair is so annoying, between Ethan's parents. So like it could be something where it has to do with like some neighborhood drama or something going on, like maybe someone living in this neighborhood is to blame and there's been some like suspicious stuff going on. We also know that there is some sort of mysterious Hawthorne building in the area, which is also mentioned in the synopsis, some sort of Hawthorne Institute. So that will probably come in later. Maybe that will have to do with like human experiments or something like that. So far, as with all of Riley's books, I'm really liking the writing. I think it's gonna be really easy for me to just sit here and read without any breaks, which I haven't been really having that lately. I haven't been feeling like just reading for long periods of time. So this is gonna be nice to just actually get totally sucked into this book for the whole day. Yeah, so I'll keep you updated on my thoughts and on my theories. Alrighty, I'm now 100 pages into the book and we got a pretty major reveal, I guess, of the fact that Billy's body has now been found. So after 30 years, they finally found it, which is obviously weird. But the reason is because, oh my god, I hope there's not too much background noise, I'm sorry. The reason is because his body was found on the grounds of the Hawthorne Institute, which I mentioned before, which is like in the woods behind Ethan's house. but I guess they never investigated that property back in the day because it was like private property. This rich Hawthorne man owned it and like didn't allow people to like come on the property. But that's where his body has been apparently all of these years. So now we officially know he's dead, and it's very much seeming like a bit of a neighborhood drama. In the flashback chapters, we're actually getting point of views from all these different characters in the neighborhoods. It's reminding me of like a Sherry Lapina or something, where we're hearing from all these different characters, some of the parents, some of the kids. So it's really just feeling kind of like a neighborhood domestic-y thriller, I guess. It really does seem like one of them is going to be maybe the person that killed Billy, and then obviously the Hawthorne Institute is very suspicious as well. I'm feeling like it really maybe has to do with what's going on with Ethan's mom and one of the neighbors, like one of the husbands. The obvious thing is maybe they had an affair, but we know that they have some sort of secret with each other, and it has to do with why Ethan's mom like lost her job back in the 90s. So that's kind of the main suspicious thing. Also, we found out that all the kids in the neighborhood, it's giving it a little bit. Apparently they all went to the Hawthorne Institute the day that Billy went missing, and then we don't know the details yet, but we know that something happened where they all kind of ditched Billy, kind of like bullied him. They think maybe he saw something when he was there, and then that's why the killer came and got him and killed him, because maybe he saw something he wasn't supposed to. But I think that's like too obvious of a solution, so I think it is gonna have to do with like the parents and whatever stuff's going on there. I think it will all come together, but I don't think it's going to be the obvious like, oh, he saw something at the institute that he shouldn't have. We also have this weird paranormal thing happening where like the lights keep going on in the neighborhood at night when Ethan wakes up. He keeps seeing the lights going on and he doesn't know like who's triggering the lights. So that's obviously suspicious, a little bit paranormal. I think it's a baseball, or is it a tennis ball? Keeps appearing in his yard, which is what Billy used to do to signal to Ethan that he wanted to play, is that he would throw this ball into his yard. So now that keeps happening. So that is the paranormal aspect, I guess, is that it seems like maybe Billy is haunting him, which might end up being true. Like maybe Billy's ghost is trying to help solve his own murder. I don't know. Lots of possibilities here. I'm kind of leaning towards that it won't actually be a paranormal killer or anything like that. I don't know. I know I said I wanted to be aliens, but I actually don't think it's going to be that. Alright, I read another 50 pages of the book. I feel like this is like the slower section that we're into now. Like not really much happened in this last 50 pages that's worth mentioning. We're basically just getting more background at some of the other characters, like Ashley, who was Ethan's babysitter. He had a crush on her back then, and I don't know, they might be like love interests in current day. And then we are also building up the whole ghost aspect as well. Ethan has set up a camera in the backyard to catch images of whoever is triggering these lights in the neighborhood. He's been seeing a lot of animals and stuff, but he just recently saw a photo with a like shadowy figure who obviously could be a ghost, and it's like short, so it looks like a child. And the old, I don't know if I mentioned, the old man in the neighborhood going kind of like senile says that he sees Billy, which I don't remember if I mentioned in my previous update, but he keeps saying he sees Billy like running around. And so yeah, now that Ethan has seen this like ghost figure, he is kind of getting convinced that it's Billy's ghost. So it is seeming to be paranormal. I think that maybe Billy's ghost is haunting Ethan, but he's like good and he's trying to, again, as I said before, just kind of help with the investigation of his own death and help Ethan and help maybe protect Ethan if he is in danger now. I always do like a good ghost story, like a hero ghost, so I wouldn't mind if that's what's happening. Alright, it's now 5 p.m. I did take a little reading break to have a snack, watch some booktube, I had a shower, but now I'm officially at 200 pages. I will say I feel like this is Riley's most like diverse book. I can't quite remember like how diverse his characters were in the past, but we do have a mix of like races and backgrounds and sexualities in this book. I don't know how like relevant it's going to be to the plot and stuff, but in terms of like developing the characters, they are a bit more diverse in this book than I think they typically are. I so far am continuing to enjoy this book and find it very easy to read, as I always do with his books, but I'm not necessarily like convinced it's going to be a 5-star at this point. I am a little bit over halfway, and I don't feel like we've had any like major reveals or major twists, so I think my overall like enjoyment and rating will have to come in the last section of the book, I guess. I feel like it would be nice if we had like a pretty big twist happen right now, but we haven't really had that, so I could see why maybe some people wouldn't love it at this point, but maybe consider it a bit slow and stuff. We are finally figuring out what happened in the past where Ethan kind of betrayed Billy and like left him in the woods, and we also kind of have focused on the fact that like it seems like Billy probably knew his killer and his abductor because of the fact that he was in such close quarters with Ethan in that tent, and Ethan was never awoken by him screaming, so he most likely trusted the person that kind of took him out of the tent. So it's definitely leaning towards the theory of it obviously being someone in this neighborhood or in this cul-de-sac. Actually, that's really the only updates that I can think of. Yeah, I feel like this last 100 pages has not been that like crazy or anything. Now we have 150 pages left, so hopefully we start getting more twists and more reveals. Alright, time for a vlog update. I am 250 pages in. I'm feeling very sleepy. But we finally got some reveals in this last section. Not all of them were necessarily shocking. Kind of the biggest reveal is that Ethan's mom, I had mentioned that she had a job for a little bit that she got fired from, and we knew she was upset about it, and it was kind of suspicious. So we find out that she was actually working at the Hawthorne Institute, which I never mentioned in this vlog, I don't think, but like that obviously was something that I thought about, and I found it was like a little bit obvious that that's probably where she worked. So that did get confirmed, and we found out the reason she got fired is because she saw something that she shouldn't have, and it was like this weird sacrifice like cult looking thing, and so she was fired and I had to sign an NDA and stuff. Also, the connection between her and that other neighbor that was revealed at the beginning is that he also worked at the Hawthorne Institute, and he was actually her boss and the one that fired her. So that all got explained, but it is obviously making the Hawthorne Institute look very suspicious in the whole Billy situation, because we found out he did spend some time there and he potentially saw something as well. And then also Ethan was kind of thinking maybe he was the real target if they were trying to kind of threaten his mom even further by like killing her son or whatever, and maybe they took the wrong boy. So we're having all these different potential things that could be going on with the Hawthorne Institute. But now Ethan has finally confronted the neighbor. I think it's Fritz is the name of the neighbor. He's confronted him, and basically Fritz kind of just has an explanation for everything, that the Hawthorne guy was interested in all these different occult things and ghosts and stuff like that, but that he kind of just has an explanation of their innocence, and like if they actually did something to Billy, why would they put the body like on the property? Like that's obviously really dumb, and he just seems to have a reason for everything. So it's seeming like Fritz is not guilty, and it's seeming like the Hawthorne guy is not guilty either. So now I'm not really sure what I suspect. Those are kind of the only potential options that I saw. We also got more confirmation of like another character who I don't think I talked about in this vlog, but he was another kid in the neighborhood who had died, that he had a connection to the Hawthorne building and he used to go there and take part in the experiments, but they're also kind of just explaining that away too. So I don't know if it's gonna loop back to this or we're gonna have to explore a bunch of new options with this mystery, but at least we're finally getting answers. I just want to note before I get any further that I am now suspecting Russ, the neighbor slash friend who had the anger issues when they were younger, was always jealous of the friendship between Ethan and Billy. He is now gonna be my number one suspect because I kind of don't have any ideas if it's not the Hawthorne Institute and it's not actually paranormal or aliens or anything like that. I think it's Russ. All right, we got the reveal of his wife being dead. Not really a twist or reveal I care too much about. I feel like it's a little bit obvious. It's something that I've definitely seen before, where we kind of think that they're estranged and like divorced because of the whole issues of him not wanting kids and her wanting kids. But I guess I just didn't really care enough to like think more about it. But yeah, basically they didn't break up or anything. Like, she did pass away and he was gonna have kids with her, but then she died. So it's not really like important to the plot or anything. Basically just it's important for his character, I guess. I hope that Ashley is not evil so that like maybe they can get together and then he can raise her kid Henry, because they seem to have like a cute relationship. But yeah, still waiting on more of the big plot reveals. We're going into the last 50 pages, so let's see what's gonna happen. Sticking with my theory of it being Russ, I think he would have access to all of those baseballs that were going into Ethan's yard, for example, because he runs that, like, I think it's like a sports store or outdoor kind of store. So I'm sticking with that. I was right, or it seems like I'm right so far. Okay, so it actually seems like Russ only cut the tent, but he didn't kill Billy. So we know one part of it, who slit the tent. So I was partially right. But now I guess we have to figure out who actually killed Billy. And I'm not sure who it could be. I mean, Ethan did tell him to like kill himself basically right before he died. So maybe he actually did try and kill himself. But I think there's been proof that like he couldn't have just killed himself. So we've got some more reveals to find out. Alright, I finished the book. I did stop updating live, obviously, and just read. So, of course, Billy's brother came into the picture. I think his name was Andy, his younger brother. I definitely should have mentioned him in this vlog because at one point I definitely did consider him to be a player in all this, but he was 7 years old at the time of Billy's death, so I really didn't think he would be involved. And I was correct that he wasn't really involved back then, but it was revealed that he was the one kind of doing the hauntings towards Ethan. He was the one triggering the lights, he was the shadow, he was the one throwing the balls, because he believed that Ethan was the one to kill Billy, which makes sense, right? He definitely kind of looks suspicious, especially because he told Billy basically to die. And it turns out that Andy did overhear that when they were younger. So hearing that as like a 7-year-old and then living through this trauma of your brother being missing, like he created this whole idea that Ethan had killed him. So I definitely should have mentioned in this vlog that like Andy would be involved somehow. That definitely like did make sense and come together. But of course we still needed to know who killed him back then. Like, we know who's doing the current day hauntings, but who was it back then? And basically Andy kidnaps Henry, who is Ashley's kid, in a way to like get Ethan to confess. But of course Ethan has nothing to confess because he didn't kill him. And then we found out Ashley is the one that killed him. So that was a little shocking. Obviously she was one of our main characters to suspect, but I didn't see how it would fit together of her killing him. The reason for that is that it was a complete accident. It was mentioned earlier in the book that she, you know, was 15 back then and she was driving illegally. And so basically what happened is she was driving and a little bit drunk from a party, and she actually hit Billy with a car, and that is how he died. And then basically she took his body to the Hawthorne Institute, that little like waterfall where he was found. That's what happened, and she never came forward with it. And I feel a bit disappointed with what all ended up happening. I feel like it's a little bit lame that it was just an accident and that she just decided to never come forward and caused kind of all of this trauma and torment for all these characters like Ethan and Andy. I don't know, I just feel like it was a little bit of a lame-ish reveal. I definitely was hoping for more from Riley Sager, especially with like his last 2 releases that have really just blown me away, and I've really been impressed with the twists. So maybe I just kind of hyped him up a little bit too much for this one, because this is definitely not one of my favorites. Did I still overall enjoy it? Obviously, you saw me throughout the day getting through this quite quickly and overall enjoying it, having a few different theories, but I do feel like my reading experience was definitely not as good as it sometimes has been with his books. I don't think I was able to theorize as much, and I don't think the twists were as shocking as I would have liked them to be, and they all came like very late in the book. And then, you know, it does have a nice ending of Ethan adopting Henry, but even that feels like a little bit cheesy, you know. Oh, and also, so just to finish off the plot, Ethan and Henry do end up going over the edge of this waterfall and like nearly dying, but then Billy's ghost saves them, which is kind of nice because basically everything with Andy kind of proved that ghosts weren't real after all. But then having that little moment of Billy saving them shows that like, oh, actually ghosts are real or could be real in this world. And that was nice, but definitely cheesy. This book was pretty decent, but I think I'm gonna rate it maybe 4 stars. I might have to sit with it a little bit longer because obviously I binged this in less than 24 hours. I did accomplish the goal that I set out for the day, but I think maybe I need to sit with it a little bit more. But it's definitely going to be like a 4 star. It even could potentially be 3.5. I don't know. It's definitely lower on my ranking of his books, like maybe down there with Final Girls and like Lock Every Door. I still liked that one, but like it was a predictable twist for me. I guess not every book's gonna be a win. I'm interested to see other people's opinions because some people have hated his books that I've loved, so I'm wondering if people will love this book that wasn't one of my favorites. I still really enjoy his writing and just find it so enjoyable to sit and read in one sitting, clearly. But yeah, not the most great reveals ever. This just like was a book, and yeah, it was a book. So I assume if you have watched this to the end and watched all my spoiler thoughts that you have also read it. So definitely let me know what you thought down below. Give me your little review and we can discuss it. Where does this rank for you? And what did you think of the paranormal stuff? And did you guess everything or was it shocking? Just let me know all the things. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you will subscribe and follow me on my Goodreads and my Storygraph if you have not already. That would be great to connect. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day or night, whatever, and I will see you next time. Bye.